Hey, what's up, Neil? What's going on?
Every time. I'm doing good, Cal. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. I am looking forward to the new year. So here we are. One Erasure bringing us in.
Yep.
Through the new year here.
Black and new. What's so hot?
I tell you, it's not a genre that was like huge for me, but you know who it was Paul. Paul loved Erasure.
Yep.
And I remember that song, and when I said, hey, what do you want to come play? And he was like, Erasure. I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome.
It was going to be Molamo, but I like.
Yeah, we need, you know what, a little respect. We need a little respect
Just a little
here
respect.
on Two Dudes. But no, so we've been hyping up season 2, dropping on January 2nd.
Janskies.
January 2nd. I'm all effed up, dude. Between Christmas and coming off the flu.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been talking about January 3rd, Tuesday, midnight. Oh, my God. Marketing, killing it on social media. Just loving it. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't until my wife, Emily, opened up her brand new calendar, which is my responsibility every year, is to get the calendars so that we can write everything on it. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, Tuesday's January 2nd, not the 3rd. And I'm like, motherfucker. So I had to wait for all my stories to expire, on the socials. So all right, January 2nd, it's like no one saw it. But anyway, whatever. But you know what? The funny thing is, it ain't January fucking 2nd.
Yeah.
This is New Year's Eve, bitch, right? This is that episode that no one knew about. We've been keeping on the down low for our number one supporters out there. So the 10 of you that are actually checking this out on New Year's Day.
Yep, absolutely.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. Good to have
Full
you here.
disclosure, it's actually December 29th. So we're not doing an episode on New Year's. We're not those type of guys.
I even had the freaking confetti, but oh man, you wish.
But I will say my buzz today is going to be sponsored by Bell's and Wolverine State Brewing Company, and it looks like some Seagram 7.
Seagram 7.
So before we even get started, the Seagram 7 is from one of our earliest supporters, Mr. John Palmer. Mm-hmm. And we just spent Christmas Day with him, and we said that we would toast a shot to him because he was able to score one of our new T-shirts, some of the new merch out there.
Yep.
So, John Palmer, here you go.
Merch is out there. Smooth?
It actually is. It actually is. And I'm not going to lie, it brings back a memory of back when me and
not
Paul
too bad.
were young.
Might have to chase that.
Yeah. And we used to sneak behind the parents' bar sometimes, just take little sips, and you know what? That's what brings me back. Seagram 7.
It was the old Seagrams. Thank you, John.
And then now I'm going to get hop slammed.
Yeah. Why wouldn't
the
you?
The old double IPA, it is 10%. Bell's. Seasonal. It usually comes out every December, January. And
one of the best. I think they might even come out year-round now.
I was going to say no.
Let us know if we're wrong,
but was recently bought by, I think, the New Holland beer company.
Okay.
With Fat Tire and some of those other brands. So it could be. It could be. I'm not sure. But obviously goes back decades now into the Kalamazoo, Michigan area. One of the better craft brews out there.
Absolutely. Bell's.
Oberon and obviously Two Hearted, which is one of the better IPAs out there. And they actually have a new Oberon. Have you seen it? It's called Oberon Eclipse.
No.
It's almost like I believe the fall winter Oberon versus the summer version.
No kidding. I'll have to try that out.
Yeah, I actually had one the other day. It was really good.
Out right now.
Yeah, it was really good. So, like I said, this is kind of we'll call it episode 1A, whatever. It's going to drop. It's really not the first episode of season 2. It's just our coming back together for kind of the New Year's.
You and I getting to the audience and saying,
yeah,
hey,
we're back.
we'd
We're back,
like to
bitches.
have you listen. And
Hey, bitches, we're back.
motherfuckers, we're
Yeah,
back.
motherfucker. And to be honest, it's been like 3 months since we've not even recorded, almost talked. We just saw each other for the first time. So the last time we recorded was like late September, early October.
Right.
Because they hadn't even gone to Ben Harper yet. That was October 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally, like, besides some text messages, haven't talked, haven't seen each other until December, I think, 16th. When we did Christmas at my mom's place.
And that's not like that rare between you and I either.
No, what's rare is the amount that we do talk during these recordings and everything else.
Exactly.
So.
I mean,
but no, it was a good break. I mean, we did a couple of special episodes.
Sure.
The ones I mentioned were my brother-in-law Eric, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in May of this year, and he was in town for the Metallica shows. Him and his stepson and their buddy and a couple other people. So they were in town. So we did a couple special episodes with Eric. And it was cool because they were here on Saturday, which is right between the Friday show, and then they were going in on Sunday. And then we did another episode with the Two Hunters, which is his stepson and his stepson's buddy. And Kennedy filled in as the guest host, which was fun. I always said, if I kill over tomorrow, I hope someone carries on the torch. So this is me giving my blessing that Kennedy can be the host with Neil.
The host. I'll still be the co-host.
Yeah, you'll still be the co-host. But it's all right. I'm not sure who's going to work that fucking social media shit, because that is like a whole other job.
Yep, it ain't going to
But no, that was cool. And then we had the other special episode with my dad, Dave, the old man, right? And we'll definitely have him back on when we can have you with him. But that was kind of a spur of the moment. I wanted to see him, have him see kind of how the magic happened behind it. And me and him were heading downtown the other day and were able to hear the episode, which was cool for him.
And that was a really good episode.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
I don't think there is anybody listening that said, "Oh, that one sucked." No,
and it was good. And all these were about 30 minutes, which is good. Mm-hmm. I mean, whatever. They end up being what they end up being. But it was good because obviously Dave's the Vietnam veteran, and it wasn't Veterans Day, but it was 2 weeks later, the 25th, and we ended up watching We Were Soldiers and Platoon, me, him, Kennedy, and Avery. But we were sitting around waiting for them to get home, and I'm like, hey, you want to just do a quick one? He's like, yeah, sure, And it was funny because there's, after that, I'm like, what'd you think? He was like, that was a lot of fun, I thought I'd have a hard time talking, but you just, made it so easy, and I mentioned, well, maybe we can get you back when Neil's on, because I feel bad. He was like, I'm there. What? You let me know. I'll be there. So that was cool. It's good to have them see it because, my mom watches the episodes and stuff. But I'll probably have her on because the one thing with Pam, she actually saw Destiny's Child.
Okay.
Which they
Beyonce,
had, Beyonce, with the group, and I mean they kind of had a little shorter shelf life. Mm-hmm. And I think she saw them like Backstreet Boys or something, but it'd be funny catching up with her. But so now here we are.
So I wanted to, of course, we're just doing a little intro and a little season 1A, however you want to say it. But I would like to introduce a new topic.
That's what I was just going to bring up, the drive-in.
Yeah, the drive-in is a bit of a bit. Yeah,
so, I mean, we film in Howell, Michigan. Neil lives in Westland. I mean, it's a hike. It's about an hour. I mean, with construction, it could be an hour, hour and a half, depending. So it is a hike, and that's why I love when Neil comes out and does this with us. And I think an angel just got their wings. Mm-hmm. I think an angel, that's great. Mm-hmm. So, but on your drive-in today, you said you had something pop in your mind.
I thought, wow, I'm driving out here and I'm like, man, I listen to music, of course, everybody does. And I don't listen to my phone can hit up with the internet and everything and whatever, but I like to listen to just the radio stations, right? And I'm thinking, well, I should record or just say what, as my drive here is, what songs I listen to. So
what stations?
All right, here we go. 98.7 was the radio station that I started on, and then they came with Jimmy Eat World in the middle, and I'm like, all right, cool. I can dig to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was POD, Youth of a Nation. Youth of a Nation. So that's what these are the songs.
So 98.7 is like, do they still go by Wheels? Because it used to be the old Wheels was 98.7.
Yeah.
And then now.
But the great thing about 98.7 right now is they're doing like
it's almost like an alternative 90s type.
And they're doing like songs from like back in the day, and they'll pick a song from 2002 or 2004. And then I listened to Offspring, Gone Away. We've talked about Offspring before.
But
Verve Pipe.
So
Freshman.
Well, back to like Offspring. So something relatively new since we've been from season 1 is Facebook. Like, we're starting to blow up on Facebook. I mean, I hate to say it. We're
there. I mean, whatever. If you're not
there, we have like 1,800 followers, about almost 500 specific Two Dudes page followers. But I'm now part of like these other groups. So like 90s, alternative and grunge and all these different ones on there. And it's like, I'll see stuff about Offspring, and people are like, oh my God, they're awesome. And a lot of people are like, well, yeah, if you forget about that one song, that stupid Keep 'Em Separated song.
Oh my gosh, that was the first song that made me like Offspring, to be honest. We talked about it.
I know, and it's crazy, but it's like, and this is where I start like reflecting upon myself. Whereas like, these bands suck.
Come with it, Cal.
I always would say Offspring sucks. But you know what? Now I'll hear an Offspring song and they'll sit and fucking sing along to it.
Yep.
Or Gin Blossoms, they suck.
Yep.
Or this band, they suck. And it was like I was so like narrow in my like and stuff. Like I just wouldn't even give them the time of day. Spin Doctors suck. These guys,
Spin Doctors still suck, but
Counting Crows, I would
Counting Crows.
But they all have good songs, and it's like now I look back, I'm like. And then I'm in these groups, and like people bring them up, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. I remember that song, or that's cool. And then it's like I kind of reform my opinion. But there's some that I still have a hard time with, like Faith No More.
They have that one good
song. And then it's like, but I never heard like 100 other songs about
it.
It's like I'm basing my sole opinion on that song that I couldn't stand. But I also know like bands that I love that people are like, how do you like that band? Because they play this song.
Isn't that?
And I'm like,
weird?
But you don't know like these other 100 songs. And it's now I'm like opening up now that I'm like in these groups, and I'm like, because I watch people and they're so pissed off at each other and like that band sucks. It's all about Alice in Chains, or this sucks and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, you like what you dig what you dig, right? You like what you like. It's
super subjective,
but it's also
but also like, oh, you should be objective too.
No,
like, oh my gosh,
what it comes down, and it's what I've based this down to is it is so personal to you.
Yes,
like music, like some of the bands that like you love for whatever reason, like you will die on that hill. And then there's like, for whatever reason, some of those other bands that have offended you, like you would be like, how do you like them? They suck. And you just like unload on this person like, but
actually they're pretty good.
They're kind of good. And like, they hate this band that you love that much, It's so weird. Like, and the part that kind of gets me about it all, right? And I understand in the back and forth, that's great. And the discussion and why I think this band's great. And like one of them, like people were talking about Deftones, and I'm like, you know what? I couldn't even tell you a Deftones song if it came on the radio. And I'm like, I'm trying to think like when they were popular, and I was like, early 2000s. And this is where I talk about that split in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It was new metal and all this stuff. But I went this way.
Yeah, right.
With the jam bands, the hippie bands and stuff like that. Or the folk alternative, and, country alternative and all that shit, right? And, I was never into any of that new metal stuff. And I don't know, it just, it's so weird the way that people just are so personal about it. But then it's awesome. I was mentioning the Deftones. So it was like this one person was like, I said, I know nothing about the Deftones. I'm damn near 50.
The Mighty Deftones?
Just Deftones.
Deftones.
And I'm like, it was right through like where I love
Mighty Boss Tones.
Mighty Boss Tones. Yeah. But they're like, oh, you should listen to this, and this. So I checked it out. I'm like, oh, you know what? It's actually pretty good. It's not necessarily my super thing,
right.
But it's cool. But I appreciated those people because they loved it. Like they were gung ho, and they're like, oh, check this song out, listen to this album, and do this. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do that.
Yep.
And you know what? I did that, and I'm like, it's good. I understand why you guys love it. Yeah. It's not necessarily my thing, but that's cool. And like, to me, that's what music is. It brings you all together. And, through all this shit, and that's why Two Dudes will never be a political thing, and we'll never do anything because it's about music.
We're just all about music, bro.
And you know what? When you go to, I said this earlier today, I said, you go to a concert at Pine Knob, there's 15,000 people. There's going to be a good portion of them that outside of the normal world, you would go toe-to-toe with that person because for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, you are connecting through that music with those people. And that's why it is such an important thing. I don't want to sound like a dark, but it's so important what we're doing here.
You're going to sound like a hippie.
Because we talk about going to these live shows and having that experience, and it brings you together. And which brings me to, what else did you hear on your buddy?
And then Gone Away, obviously some people hating whatever. Verve Pipe the Freshman, hell, Winter loves that song.
Not only that, but Verve Pipe was also a local, I think Kalamazoo area band.
There you go.
So people in Michigan love them.
Eminem.
Especially Eminem.
Lose Yourself.
Nice.
So I'm here. I heard those 4 songs right in a row. I'm like, oh my God, great.
98.7?
98.7.
Never even changed it.
Went to a commercial, and then what do I hear? Fleetwood fucking Mac. Oh shit, I forgot the song. I didn't write it down. But it was if you're listening to Fleetwood Mac, it's one of the best fucking bands ever. And then it goes to the other second best band, The Who. You bet. Bob Seger.
Yes. Seger.
Then Phil Collins in the air tonight. I'm like,
so
what the hell am I must be on a I'm on a freaking streak here. A streak here.
So Phil Collins in the air tonight.
One of the best songs ever.
It's got that huge drum solo at a certain point. And I actually saw on Facebook, it tells you if you start that song at a certain point on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
When that drum solo hits, it'll be at midnight. So check it out.
And I've heard there was a couple more, but I had a good listen to.
Michigan and even Windsor have always been strong in the radio stations. 98.7 Sweet, 107.1 out of Ann Arbor.
107.1, that's great.
Oh, it's so great. So, Anil, God damn, it seems like it's been a long time since we talked.
Yeah, it's been some time, yeah.
So, it was early October. So, October 10th, I went to Ben Harper with Maxie, obviously, good buddy of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing show. You've seen Ben Harper, well, with me at least, probably 3-4 times.
You've probably seen them.
Well, I know for a fact we at least saw them at Pine Knob. We saw him at Pine Knob probably twice between Horde Fest and probably Dave Matthews where he opened up. And then I know for a fact we saw him at Meadowbrook.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of us went to that one. We were rolling deep,
yes.
Probably like 8, almost 10 people into that one.
I know Sarah Mudger was there.
Yep. Yeah, Sarah Mudger, huge supporter from day
What up,
one. What up, Mud? And then we obviously caught him in San Diego with Jack Johnson, which was cool. What a great trip that was. You know, I mean, that was when the whole power outage of, 2003, summer 2003 in Michigan and Ohio. We had the power outage. We were in San Diego, literally on Mission Beach in an apartment. The very first day we were there, we caught Ben Harper. I mean, and Jack Johnson. What a cool start to a
What a better place to be.
I don't believe that I saw past 8 o'clock any night that we were there. And it wasn't even that we were out just partying. It was just that you woke up at like 6 in the morning because we were on the water and just you're on the balcony hanging out.
Time to get up and go.
I even remember I was completely passed out the whole time Spence came.
Oh, yeah.
Your buddy Spence. Oh, my God. Remember when we were in college? We went to, your new hometown, Scottsdale, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we went there for spring break while we were at UAD.
Yep.
And, oh, my God, that was one of the funnest, vacations, whatever you want to call it, ever. We went and stayed with your mom.
Yep.
And then your brother Tommy and sister Lindsay were there, and we hooked up with your buddy Spence. We checked out a Coyote game.
Uh-huh.
And we saw your brother's buddy, Tom.
Yeah.
For an evening.
So my brother's name is Tommy, and then
his
hung
buddy
out
was
with
Tom.
His buddy Tom.
And that was quite an evening from what I remember.
One of the best trips I've been on.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun as hell. And that was probably my senior year. You would have been probably a sophomore.
Yeah.
And you weren't even 21, but we were just going to bars, hanging out with Tommy, drinking beers. That's where we saw Sugar Ray.
Yep.
Not in concert. God damn, don't worry. We did not see Sugar Ray. We still have eyeballs. They didn't burn out. No. But that's people love Sugar Ray, whatever. You love Sugar Ray.
You can.
Tommy did not. But that was funny. That was such a cool trip, man.
Unreal.
I know. And I just think some of the other trips we've been on, unreal. So we did.
I love it. I love you brought that up.
I know. So that we remember there was some sort of controversy about a Subway sub or something. I don't even truly remember what happened when we were on that trip, but it was something about a tuna sub.
Yeah, it was.
I don't even know.
The tuna sub at Subway.
I vaguely remember an oil change and a tuna sub. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. It was a. Wouldn't you like to know? I'm just kidding.
But no, so the one thing shortly after we stopped recording, before the hiatus, was the Mudhoney show.
Yeah.
And that was me, you, and Kennedy went Mudhoney. It was at the Magic Bag in Ferndale, which is like 500 people. And I mean, obviously, I know Mudhoney. I had some CDs by them. They're on the single soundtrack. And I'll say, the grandfathers of grunge at this point, right? One of the very early ones. In fact, they were in Green River before Mudhoney, blah, 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 right? Awesome show.
And if you've been
you know what?
The Magic Bag, you've been.
Oh,
I mean, what a
like I said, 500 people pretty much. I mean, it's just a nice little theater. You got the bar there. And the one thing that I forgot about Mudhoney is they're a lot heavier than a lot of the other grunge bands.
I was talking to your brother about that. I'm like, have you seen Mudhoney? He was like, yeah. He goes, I remember them kind of being a little bit more hardcore.
A little hardcore and heavy.
Okay, all right, cool.
Than even like the Soundgardens and Alice in Chains and that. But I remember talking to one of our supporters, Mike Hannigan. Mm-hmm. He saw the same show in Chicago 2 days before. Hannigan, really? And he was like, One, completely amazing show. Mudhoney was awesome. He goes, but make sure you get there early enough and check out the opener, Hoover 3.
Hannigan said that?
Hannigan said that. He's like, in fact...
Thank you, Hannigan.
He's like, their drummer is like front and center and just is awesome. Well, the other thing he mentioned, and as we start to age a little bit, he said that Mudhoney was selling reading glasses as part of their merch. And they actually say Mudhoney on the side, and they're kind of signed by one, Mark Arm or Steve or whatever. And
Steve
Harmon.
Yeah, I know.
And so I'm like, well, my eyes are starting to go. I've never had readers. And, that'd be cool. So I'm like, I want to get there early. We'll wait in line so I can get to the merch.
Get some readers.
Right. So remember, we were actually in line. We got our pictures, in front of the marquee, which is super cool.
I love that.
Magic Bag, such a cool place in Ferndale, Michigan.
Unreal.
I would say if you like a band that's playing there, it's worth a road trip, let alone just local.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we get in there early. We're like one of the first maybe 100 people in. And I beeline to the merch. You beeline to the bar. And Kenny just goes, checks out lay of the land.
Where we're going to sit or
stand. We're going to stick, check out the stage, whatever. And I'm sitting there, and, of course, there's, some cool-ass posters and shit. And so people are checking out. I'm just kind of sitting there, and I look over. And I remember, leading up, I'm like, oh, the opener is Hoover I. I have no idea how to say it, no idea what the name actually is, but I put it on the story. And it said, hey, go on the Mudhoney night and checking out Hoover I. Well, before we even went there, they shared my story. So their story now says 2 dudes and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, holy shit, awesome, Even if
and
it's the opener. Hoover 3 is what it is.
Hoover 3 is actually the people
But at that point, I had no idea. So we walk in, I'm in line, and it's taking a while. I look over, and here's this guy, and he's got this sweatshirt that says Hoover, and he's in front of all the Hoover 3 merch. And I just look at him, of course. But my dad in me, hey, so are you like the merch guy and travels around with the band? And he goes, I'm actually in the band. I'm like, oh, no shit, really? I'm 2 dudes. He's like, wait, you're the podcast guy. I'm like, yeah, you shared my story earlier. He's like, oh, yeah, so we're talking. I'm like, man, sorry about that. I'm like, so what do you do in the band? He's like, I'm lead singer, guitarist. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, oh, awful. I feel like this big, right?
Yep.
So now I'm talking to him, and I'm like, well, I want, what about this T-shirt? And the one I'm wearing right now, it's for their new album, whatever point. And he's like, well, it's $25. And I never have cash on me, but I stopped on the way there and picked up, $40 on the ATM. I got 2 20s. And I'm trying to talk to him about, 2 dudes and shit. And I'm like, all right, here you go, and give him 220. He's like, oh, well, I don't know if I got change. And he's like muffling through all this shit down here. And I'm like, holy crap, He's like, I don't have any change. So he now gives me the $40 back plus the T-shirt. I'm like, well, here, at least take 20. I'll take the shirt and I'll get some change. So then I go, I literally move like 5 feet from him, and I'm going to buy my readers. Well, guess what? Those bitches are $20. So it's like I give the money, and I still don't have the change. And I had however it worked out, whatever the money was, then I'm at buying the readers. I'm like, hey, can you break this change for me so I can give him change? And now people are loading up behind me. Now I'm the asshole.
You fucking dick.
But, by the end, I'm like, I get my $5. I go over, he's talking to other people. I give it to him. He's like, all right, sweet, dude. And but no, he was super awesome. Hoover 3 was such a cool band.
They were amazing and are amazing.
Yeah, I always say
listen to Hoover 3 is what I want to say.
Hoover 3 out of LA.
One of the best.
But I growing up, going to concerts and stuff, I remember it was always, I'd be partying, and then you get in right before that headliner starts, and we did that so many times. But now, as I'm kind of aged, and I'm, my pregame's a little different. Sometimes it includes a large coffee on the way, but going and catching those opening bands, and like without Hannigan saying you should check these guys out and everything else, you probably wouldn't have. But those guys killed it.
Yeah, I mean, Mudhoney was great.
But I mean, Hoover 3, it was. I mean, they had obviously the drummer was like front and center, just playing his ass off. Guitar, bass, keyboard, and saxophone. I mean,
we said it before. They're young,
and their music was all over the place. It wasn't like you couldn't say, "Oh, they sound like this," because they sounded like this, but then they sounded like that. And I would definitely check them out.
Right on, bros.
100%. But then Mudhoney.
Yeah, Mudhoney.
Man, those guys. And I said, when you're at a good concert, me, you, and Kennedy went. And between Hoover 3 and Mudhoney, I don't think we said more than 5 words to each other. Like, we just sat there and we were just so engrossed in that entire show. It would be either like, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And just to make sure, the check-in, but it was never, and then in between bands, we talked or whatever, but then it started back up. And, I mean, that's when you're at, like, to me, a killer show.
God damn it. And then I think I've been to a couple since, and then a couple before, and
after that, you went to Heartless Bastards again at the Magic Bag.
Yeah.
With John Shack, who we're going to have on, I believe, episode 2 of season 2 here. But what was that show like?
Heartless Bastards were one of a kind, I mean, they've been around for, 20 years.
That's what I didn't realize.
Yeah. Didn't realize that either, but I'm like, holy hell.
And that kind of popped up because Shaq was going, but all of us were going to go to Porno for Pyros in October, and then they canceled that. So it was like, hey, you want to just kind of roll it over into Heartless Bastards, which was December 7th.
And then Shaq called or texted me. He's like, hey, do you want to go to that? And so I'm like,
so you guys went. I'm like, hey, when is that? I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. Then I realized it was.
You couldn't go. Why couldn't you go?
My second grandchild was born on December 7th.
Way to go, second.
But no, so that's why I couldn't go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see some of the videos you guys sent. It's a great venue. Imagine
treasure. A real treasure.
One of the feedbacks I've gotten, because obviously we're not just a local Michigan show or whatever. So like when we talk about some of the venues, they're like, I don't really understand. You know what I mean? So just imagine like a small theater that is built for music, but only for 500 people. And that is what the Magic Bag is in Ferndale, Michigan.
All right.
And that's where we saw Mudhoney. That's where you just saw Heartless Bastards a few weeks ago.
If you don't really understand, I think you could
see
a band anywhere. We'd see a band right here and be like,
if you're in Cleveland, you probably have that little theater that seats 2,000 or maybe 1,000 or whatever it is. So that's where you can kind of visualize what we're talking about with some of these shows.
And this Magic Bag is about as big as this. I mean, there's no...
The main floor is, maybe a 20 by 20 area.
Maybe
400 square feet, maybe, if you're lucky.
And then the actual...
You got a couple other levels, and
it's
really a cool place. I had never been there until I think it was 2018, maybe, and I saw Old 97s there.
Yeah,
that was a cool show.
Freaking A. The Magic Bag is freaking the place to go see a show.
So,
go.
The one thing,
support your local bands at the Magic Bag.
I will say my one killer tune by Mudhoney, besides like Suck You Dry and whatever, The Sickness, everything, is Little Dogs. And the second they started playing that, I couldn't help but think of Phoebe. And that's what I actually had a post earlier, months ago about that.
And Phoebe's his little dog.
Yeah, 100%. And that's when I decided I love little dogs. But you know what? It was funny because that was one of the times I spoke during that concert. Because the second they started playing Little Dogs, and they talk about going on a walk and who came along, the little dog.
Mm-hmm.
I said to Kennedy, I'm like, I'm totally going to play this song with this video and then having Phoebe in it, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay. And like, but didn't really seem, and it wasn't until like weeks later, we were talking about that and that song. And she goes, I thought that song was Little Dolls. Like, Little Dolls. I'm like, no, it's Little Dogs. And I'm like the worst with lyrics.
Yeah.
And then I started second guessing myself. I'm like, holy shit, isn't it actually Little Dogs? So I put it.
You are not the worst.
No, I put it in the Googler. And the Googler let me know I was good with Little Dogs. But then I thought back and I said, well, do you remember me saying that to her? She's like, yeah, and that's why I wasn't real sure. It was kind of weird.
That's what I was getting at. Oh, that's great.
So, Heartless Bastards, another one, Magic Bag, you and Shaq went.
Hmm?
We got a lot of shit coming up with Shaq.
Yeah,
it seems like. But the next thing we do have coming up is Big Head Todd and the Monsters in Detroit at St. Andrews Hall.
January 21?
January 21st. Another Sunday show.
It's a Sunday night show, guys. January 21st.
But
Big Head Todd and the Monsters. I mean,
God damn,
if you've not ever seen them or if you don't even know them, hell. It's probably sold out, isn't it?
There's probably, you can always get tickets. There's always aftermarket. People can't go.
If you guys aren't there.
But no, Big Head Todd, I mean, they're out of Colorado. They've been around for 3 decades. In fact, I always do a show once a year, every time in Red Rocks in Colorado, at Morrison, Colorado.
You told me that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
And I know this year
Unreal.
It is June 8th. I think it's Saturday. Avery's birthday is the next day, so it's just not going to happen this year. But the one good thing knowing is every year they play Red Rocks.
Yeah.
And I think, that's one place I've never been to. I've always wanted to go to.
Yeah,
but if I go to it, I don't know if it could be better than seeing. The only thing better than seeing Big Head Todd and the Monsters at Red Rocks would be seeing the Lumineers at Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Another Colorado band. That would be amazing. Either one of those, but you know what I know for a fact? Big Head Todd plays every year, so if it don't work out this year, we'll do it next year.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we're seeing them in Detroit on a Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Again, when we talk about these venues, St. Andrews Hall is what? Maybe 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 people?
Yeah.
I would call it a glorified bar. A bar on steroids.
They have a couple,
And you have some of the upstairs stuff where,
but
it's
maybe
not
a couple hundred up there, and then
Yeah.
down here, 500, 700, 800, 1,000.
In fact, it's been a long time since I've been there, but one of the obviously the most memorable shows at St. Andrews would have been Lou Reed.
Yeah.
I looked that set list up the other day, and I want to say it was somewhere between 2000 and 2003. I don't remember the exact year. But he ended that show with Perfect Day from, Train Spotting, of course.
Such a perfect day.
Glad I spent it with you. Yeah, no, that was... St. Andrews, it is probably one of the most iconic venues in Detroit, 100%. There's so many of them, and they all are.
I know.
Do this with them, but St. Andrews Hall is...
I'd rather
that place was hosted like Nirvana and Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
And people back when they were just launching...
And there's so many huge bands that play there that I don't even know.
They would play there, and then they would play like the Blind Pig in Ann Arbor,
right?
The next night or whatever, Just such history, So I'm super excited. It's been a long time.
Was it the Shelter below?
The Shelter's below.
The Shelter.
And in fact, it's one of those, such an old place. The St. Andrews above almost collapsed on the Shelter below. Like they actually had to shut it down and reinforce it and do all that shit to it. But I'm really looking forward to that. It's only that's 2 days from now. It'll be 3 weeks we're hitting that show. I can't fucking wait, dude. I can't wait for that. And then a little bit of a break. We'll hit February. We're going to hit Portugal the Man.
Yeah.
At Royal Oak Music Theater. So what do you remember seeing at Royal Oak Music Theater? Have you been there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The National and...
But you're sporting the shirt?
Yeah.
That would have been a cool show at Royal Oak.
Yeah. And I think we've touched on this maybe on our first. Oh, and I was...
Was that the time that you got the backstage and everything?
Yeah, you guys all heard it, but
you actually didn't get backstage?
No.
Because you had to pee?
Yeah, I had to pee. And, it was a great show, but if you want to really hear about it, go to episode 1. I'll tease you with that, but yeah.
I'll tease you with that.
But yeah, it was great.
Crazy stuff.
I love Royal Oak Music Theater.
No, it is. It is. And that's where I saw Ben Harper in October. And the last time I saw Ben Harper was it was like 5 or 6 years, but me and Emily saw him at Royal Oak again. And it's just like, it's amazing, especially when we're on main floor, which we will be for Portugal the Man.
Oh, I can't wait to see Portugal the Man.
I know. And you know what? I'm not even, of course, I know their famous songs. I would say I probably know 2 or 3 others. So I probably need to do a little more homework going in. But it's one of those ones I don't even think I care.
I don't think you do.
I don't even think I care if I know a ton of shit.
Nope.
Because
I'm not going to listen to
what I've heard I like, and then I'm going to go there and I'm just going to enjoy myself.
It's going to be amazing.
And, well, so me, you, and Shaq are going, but then Emily, Kenny, and Avery are all going as well. That was my birthday gift to myself for the whole family. Me, Emily, Kenny, and Avery, and then you and Shaq are all going to the Portugal the Man show. But the one that I can't fucking wait for, 2 weeks, well, not even 2 weeks, it's 11 days after that, we'll be at the Fillmore Detroit Porno for Pyros. They canceled on us in October. They have the new material out there. There's the band solidified. Mike Watt will be on bass. And they relaunched as a farewell tour. So this will be it for Porno for Pyros. And we're going February 27th at the Fillmore Detroit main floor. And, I mean, I couldn't be more fucking excited, dude. This is probably the most excited for a show I've been for a long time, to be honest. And with that, fuck it. I'm going to do another shot of Seagram's.
Might as well. Thanks a lot, John Palmer.
JP. Thanks, bro. Sweet. Woo! And you know what? I'm going to wash that shit down with the Hop Slam of all things.
Pretty smooth.
Well, that's not bad.
Pretty smooth.
I know, it's pretty good.
But yeah, Porno for Pyros, fucking A, man. It's going to be a blast.
And the fact it's farewell, and you have 3 original members, and then kind of Mike Watt, who played with them for a while. He was kind of the second bassist, I believe, or whatever. But anytime you can see Perry Farrell, I don't care what anyone says, Perry Farrell, I mean, is an icon for our generation.
Yeah.
I mean, Jane's Addiction, I mean, when you really think about Jane's Addiction, and it's funny, because I think I mentioned this before with Bill Burr, one of my favorite comedians, which me and Emily are going to see Bill Burr in March. I can't fucking wait. Another Sunday show at LCA. I'm so excited. But anyway, Bill Burr has his podcast, and he'll talk about music and shit or whatever. And I haven't listened to it much, but I saw this clip on YouTube and just talking about like the grunge explosion or whatever. And how everyone's like, "Oh my God, Nirvana, like it changed my life," and blah blah blah. And he's like, "Has anyone ever listened to Jane's Addiction?" It's like Nirvana's pretty fucking simple, but these guys are just fucking ripping it, you know? But seriously, like in the late 80s, I mean, when you think about early Jane's Addiction and Stop and, you know, Mountain Song and all that other shit, like they were doing stuff that was just way over the top. And so anytime, and then you think about, okay, Perry Farrell, what else did he do? Oh, he just started Lollapalooza.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he has been, like, the forefront of that and driving it literally for the last 30-plus years.
Yep.
It's like when me and Kennedy went and saw him with the Pumpkins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, was the guy perfect and was amazing? Absolutely not, but he was Perry. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know that you're not getting perfection because Jane's Addiction was never perfection. You know what I mean? Like, even, like, their recorded music almost had like that rougher edge to it. But he's up there
to me.
And you know, no, they're perfect to you. And to me, it's like he sings it how he feels it at that point.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's not in the right tone, it's not in the right key or whatever, but it's the way he's feeling at that point in time. And I think is going to see Porno for Pyros at the Fillmore on the main floor. I mean, you're talking about maybe
I'm
a
not
2000s.
Expecting much. I'm expecting
all I'm expecting is to
him
be as close as possible and just loving it. And just thinking, you know what, this is the last time we're ever going to see them together as Porno for Pyros. I may be lucky enough to see him as Jane's Addiction again, but I'll never see him like this.
Yeah, they're... I don't say get what you get, but it's going to probably be good.
Oh, no, it'll be good.
And probably unique. And one of a kind.
Because when you just think about like, I even forgot about some of their songs, you know, like Tahitian Moon or whatever. Porno for Pyros, Pets, Black Girlfriend. Yeah, there's all that, like, wow, a lot of those songs that you even forgot about. And then Agua, which they came out with. Pete's Dad, which is for, obviously, the guitarist Pete's dad. They did a song for him.
Unreal.
It's going to be amazing. You know, and it's going to be one of those things. And that was the thing is, like, I've always been a huge Jane's Addiction fan. But I was never the biggest Porno for Pyros fan. And I had never seen them before. And they were huge in the late 90s, early 2000s. I bought the tape. Yeah, absolutely. We had the CDs and whatever, but I'd never seen them. And I think it was actually stepbrother Kevin. We were talking to the fantasy football draft. He's like, oh, I've seen Porno for Pyros like 3 or 4 times, you know, and talking to him about it. And, you know, but he also saw Jane's, and that's kind of where it all starts with people. But, I mean, Perry Farrell, love the guy or hate him. I mean, the guy, like I said, he's an icon and probably one of the biggest figures in music in the last generation.
Well,
I mean, just between what he's done for music, between his own bands, and then the whole Lollapalooza thing. Yeah. I mean, and it's still going.
It's still going.
You know, and it's like the festival type in Chicago, which, man, I don't know if I could do do you think you could do a festival?
Like a
3-day
as a
camping? Fan? Like Lollapalooza, I think I could do because I would stay in a hotel in Chicago.
Right. Are we talking, hey, let's go party and fucking hang out all day? No. But if we see the headliner.
Incarceration in Ohio. Like, could you see yourself camping for 3 days?
Yes, I can see myself camping, but I can't see myself, you know.
Going to the shows, too?
Like, all hanging out.
It's like, can I do all of it all together?
No, I don't think any of us can.
I know.
But, I mean,
I feel like festivals are a young man's game, but then I think, like, John Shack, who'll be on later.
Yeah.
Like, he went to incarceration with, like, a blown-out back, and he's like, oh, my God, it's amazing, I want to go back. And it's like, I don't know if I could do a festival
That is the love for music, though. You know, like, the love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Know. Maybe I could do it, but I don't.
But, like, a Lollapalooza, I think, okay, I'm in Chicago. If I'm in more of a hotel or maybe even an Airbnb right in the area, you know, something that's comfortable and I'm not camping.
Well, whatever. Somebody call home, yeah.
Well, who knows? But you know what? They also have, like, another one's Riot Fest in Chicago.
Isn't that in Chicago, too?
Yeah. Mike Kuhn.
Yeah.
He always goes every year. I think he's in Chicago. And like this year, one of the biggest things was Corey Feldman. He was one of like the early day people, but like he had tons of people there.
Corey Feldman did?
Yes. His band, who played the fucking Token. Oh, he's going for the barista. The barista. I gotta have a sip of that bitch too. Oh.
I'm gonna be Spanish.
It's doing that because it's been out for like 6 hours.
Mmm.
It was a little coffee drink, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, not bad. All right, so we got Big Head Todd coming up. You know, I don't even remember the last time I might have seen Big Head Todd was like my college years. It was a State Theater at the time, but the Fillmore Detroit now. And it was Big Head Todd the Monsters and Dave Matthews Band. And the very night that they came to Detroit, it flip-flopped. Big Head Todd ended up opening up, and then Dave Matthews was the headliner, because that's when they started taking off. And the one thing I'll never forget, that ticket that night cost me $20. And I'll also never forget, I was literally front row center, stage, I'm right there, like right in the middle. And I'm like, holy crap, this is a great show. Big Head Todd.
What year?
Had to have been probably late 90s. I'd have to check it out.
Okay.
Maybe like 98 or so.
Go ahead.
But it was like right as Dave Matthews was totally like taking off.
Yeah.
Before like say a Palace or Pine Knob tour.
Right.
But it was also, they were still small enough when this one started where Big Head Todd was headlining until they hit Detroit and it just switched.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
But Big Head Todd, I mean, I can't wait to see those guys. So we talked about that. We talked about checking out Portugal the Man.
Yeah.
We talked about Porno for Pyros. So another one that we actually have on the docket, which will, I mean, it's got to be about the opener for Pod Knob this year. Which for everyone out there, Pod Knob, just envision your outdoor theater. Pavilion seats, lawn, you know, some of you might have a pit. We don't in Pine Knob.
No.
But it is Santa.
Santa.
Maynard James Keenan, 60th birthday for Perfect Circle, Pussifer, and then Primus. We're all doing a show together. So obviously a Perfect Circle and Pussifer. Maynard James Keenan's bands, and then you know you have Primus. But
I think
I am super excited about that.
Maybe from Tool.
So yes. So Maynard from Tool.
Yeah.
But so these are his, yeah. Great, thanks Neil for bringing that up. But yeah, Maynard James Keenan from Tool, the lead singer. These are his two side projects: Perfect Circle, Pussifer, and then also with Primus, but celebrating Maynard's 60th birthday. I mean, I don't know. I know Perfect Circle. I know nothing about Pussifer. I do love Primus. So I'm super excited. But we're going to head there with Shaq.
Yeah.
And I think his son Nathan.
Yep.
And then my daughter Kennedy and Kate are both going as well with us.
Oh,
so
sweet.
It's going to be a cool show. And I haven't seen Primus in almost 20 years. When I went with Shaq in Detroit, like, I mean, literally 20-some years ago.
Primus.
And like I said, I think I remember Primus better as the headliner of Lollapalooza 93, to be honest. But no, that'll be a cool show. I
think it'll be a very cool show.
It's going to be outdoors May 2nd at Pine Knob. It could be a fucking nightmare with weather, but we have pavilion seats,
who knows?
so we're going to be covered.
It could be,
you know, and it could be
fucking
actually
amazing.
Brilliant.
It will be
with
amazing.
Sun. I probably will be. It probably will be. Well, probably, you know what? I was thinking we should probably do a tailgate episode
we could do like a 20 or half hour and just go. And then play cool.
Yeah, they'll play two songs by then. We'll have like a 2-hour episode. But no, that'd be a perfect one. You know, do
just
like we
thought of
did for the Pumpkins last year.
Yeah.
You know, especially
Absolutely, Cal.
you know, if it's
Unreal.
Kennedy and Shaq and
Oh, I can't wait.
Hey, you want to open that bitch up over there behind you?
Yeah. Where do we got this from?
You got that right there.
Oh, right here?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, that there. It's not going to open that up, is it?
Yeah, fuck yeah, it is.
Let's see.
The other way. Other way. Top down. No. There you go. No. There you go. Get it in there. Yep, right
It's
there.
almost like I don't drink.
Yeah, right there. He's never had a beer in his life.
Ever in my life.
There he goes.
Ever in my life I've ever had a
Fuck
drink.
it.
Well,
Go for it.
I get it.
Yeah, you need some after that. After that work. They ain't nothing like
that's
fucking
terrible.
Two-Hearted.
Yeah. Two-Hearted is the best.
Fucking love it, Two-Hearted.
Who doesn't love a two-hearted?
If you don't, then you're fucking weak as fuck.
You're weak.
You know, if you don't love it Two-Hearted, you couldn't make it in Michigan.
I would
Let's
say
put it that
people
way.
that don't love them are because they don't like the taste, but then
And
you're
I
like, fuck
actually,
off.
that's funny.
The taste is
that
fine.
comes up because I would like to understand that because Bell's was purchased by New Holland Beer, which just means now Bell's is like 100% 50 states across the place.
Right.
And so I want to know who loves Bell's, who doesn't, and if you don't, you're weak and you can never make it in Michigan.
If you don't fucking
Because
like
you know
it,
what? Michigan kicks ass.
at least you're going to get a buzz,
Hey, does
motherfucker.
anyone else have a song called Detroit Rock City?
Not
No.
a lot.
No.
Way to go.
Does
Way to
anyone else
try.
have a song about a fictitious South Detroit?
Yep, nobody
one
does.
No,
Journey.
Journey sure as fuck does.
Mhm. Try it.
And you know what? The people in Detroit love it because it just says Detroit.
Yep, try it.
South Detroit, okay, oh, it's Ohio. Fuck
Born
you
and
guys.
raised in South Detroit. Try it.
Try it. All right, so the other one, which I don't think you're going to, Neil, is, or at least yet, is the Pumpkins and Green Day. What do you feel about that one?
Ooh, dang.
Comerica. So, I mean, I understand
That's too
Comerica.
much. I'll do the PJ one, but yeah, I can't do that.
No.
That's too much.
It,
That's.
To
I mean, I
me,
would love to.
it's Green Day, and the one I'm talking about, obviously, it's Green Day, it's Smashing Pumpkins,
That's an unreal
Rancid,
show.
and the Linda Lindas. At Comerica, which I'm not a huge fan of Comerica. I did actually spend quite a bit on my ticket, and I'm not going to lie, I forced Kennedy and Avery to buy their own tickets because I'm like, that's a lot. But there's also other ones available. And this is one of those shows where no matter what, I wanted to go because, one, it's the Pumpkins. I'll go see them almost every time they're going to come.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see their lineup because Jeff Schrader or whatever just left the band after 17 years.
From who?
The Pumpkins.
Okay.
So in 2007, he
Why'd
joined as guitarist
Why did he leave?
just to pursue other
Okay,
things.
whatever. All right.
So now my question is it going to just almost revert back to the original lineup where you have Corgan main guitar,
Mhm.
other guitar, Chamberlain drums, Jack Bates bass? I mean, going into this show, I have
Yeah.
no idea. That's what I'm wondering.
All right, go ahead.
But if that's the case, that would mean Corgan even playing more of the kind of the lead solos and
Mm-hmm.
whatever on the guitar, which is amazing. And I've never seen Green Day. Never seen them. And I'm like, so I hate Comerica, but I really want to see these two bands. So, but I know there's also horrible seats available. Is this one of those things where you just want to be
Yeah.
in the place to experience it, you know? And the one that I kind of regretted I missed, it was a couple of years ago, I think. It was Green Day, Weezer, and Fall Out Boy at Comerica. And it was one of those things I'm like, I've never seen Green Day. I really would love to see Green Day. You know what I mean? Because they were kind of, as I was in college, going through that whole experience when they came out with Dookie. But I didn't go to that show. So when this one, they announced it, especially with the Pumpkins, I'm like, fucking no-brainer. No-brainer for me.
Dang. I want to see that show, but I'm not going to.
Well,
Spend that money. Especially at Comerica Park. Especially at Comerica Park.
But leave it open. I understand that.
No, I'm not going to.
I understand your conviction, but it is not until September. So just think about it.
Not to Comerica. That Dave Matthews show at Comerica was terrible. Fuck.
I've never seen a Dave Matthews show since then. I fucking hated Comerica because of that show. And the only time I ever saw Dave Matthews since was maybe 5-6 years ago where me and Paul went. But it was literally Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds. There was no one else. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, that is... I remember, like... Do you remember those CDs when they would release them? It was like Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I would always love to see those guys. Just those two. And then I won fucking tickets. I won tickets on 107.1 in Ann Arbor to see Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds. And it ended up being like a week before Paul's birthday or some shit. So we called it his birthday show again, like we did for Guns N' Roses.
Do you remember that VHS tape?
Paul's B-Day?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That was sweet.
So sweet. It was so tender. It was some tender moments in that. Seeing that birthday. It was so great.
Unreal.
So, Neil.
Yep.
So, like I said, this is not even an official episode. We'll call it a one just because we have to. Mm-hmm. But it's our New Year's Eve special, we're calling it.
Yeah,
just so everyone knows we're fucking back. Woo! There's no problems, Cal and Neil. Look, we're in the same building. Right, whatever.
I'm gonna fart right now.
Let it go.
Yeah, that was a real fart. Try to duplicate that, bitches.
You can't. But anyway, no, I'm super happy we're back. Literally after 3 months, I've literally been missing this. So it's awesome that you're back. I love that we're doing our kind of special New Year's Eve episode. We do have episode 1 coming up with Paul Grasso.
It's going to be amazing, I think.
I agree. I think it'll be a great show. And the funny thing about Paul Grasso is, like, you know, think about like season 1. It was a lot of either family, friends, people you know forever. I literally met Paul Grasso about 2.5 months ago. But I've known his brother and his family for 30 years. So
from soccer.
From soccer. So cool story there. And then we also have locked in for episode 2 will be our first reoccurring guest, which will be John Shack, which I believe was episode, was it 7?
Doesn't even matter.
He was in season 1. He will be our first reoccurring guest, but he also has along, I think, his son, Nathan Shack.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, remember...
Shack Attack.
But we talked about Shack going to incarceration, that festival in Ohio, remember, with...
Ever hear of it?
The Shawshank Redemption, the prison from it. But we're going to have them on. They went to that, so we'll see how that went. Plus other things we got coming up with those guys. And just a lot of other really cool guests coming up for season 2. I couldn't be more excited about it. Check us out on the socials, YouTube channel if you want to watch us. Obviously, you know, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, a bunch of others on, you know, if you want to catch the podcast for the audio. But also check us out, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Threads, blah, blah, blah.
I also want to say to the audience, hold up. Hey.
Wait a minute. Hold up. What? Wait a minute. What up, bro?
All right, Cal.
All right. So check us out. We're coming up. Season 2 is going to drop January 2nd at midnight with Paul Grasso. Check that shit out. Peace.